Hi everyone, in this short video I'm going to show you a couple of predictive techniques that we will use in the traditional natal astrology course, solar revolutions and distributions. And in doing that I will also show you how to use bi-wheels in solar revolutions, which can also double as a way to look at transits. So let's start with the solar revolution. On the screen I have my example nativity that we've looked at in previous videos. So we're going to pretend that this person is born on August 27th, 2021. So this person is not yet born. We want to cast a solar revolution for some future year. So if we go under predictive, the predictive tab, we can choose return chart. And this is where we tell it what we want it to find. We want this to be a solar revolution. We could choose other returns, but we're going to use solar. Once we tell it when we want the date to be by, or when we want the date to be for, it will search for a range of dates and give you several different options. So we want to say, for example, we want to look at 3 options so that we make sure that we don't miss the date and get a wrong chart. Now suppose we wanted to know about a revolution in, let's say, 10 years. What we can do is just choose, go forward 10 years, and that's fine because it will give us several possibilities. We also want the return to be a conjunction. We want the sun to conjoin his original position. There are other ways you could do this too. If you wanted to do monthly revolutions, we could choose some of these other options. So we want the sun in 10 years to return to the natal point, which is a conjunction. And let's now click this button, which is calculate return dates. By the way, if we wanted to change the location, for example, if you relocate your solar revolutions, you would choose the location tab and give it a different position. But we're going to use the natal one, which is the default. Calculate your return dates, and you'll see it gives us several options. Now, we wanted to know the solar revolution for 2031, 10 years from now. And here we have it. It's the second option. We'll click that. We could click all of these if we wanted a bunch of them in a row. If we wanted to look at many different solar returns at the same time, we could cast all of them, but we'll just choose that one. And we will cast the chart. And you can see now it's recalculated the solar revolution for 2031, and these are the positions. So this is the solar return chart, and as you will learn, we look at the solar return by itself, but we also have to compare it to the nativity. And one way we can do that is creating a bi-wheel. We're going to put the nativity in the middle, and then we're going to put the solar revolution around the outside, which is the way that I prefer it. So let's go up to wheels and choose a bi-wheel. Now, this bi-wheel gives us the same chart we were just looking at, and because we haven't told it which chart goes where, it just puts the same chart in both positions, the inner circle and the outer circle. And on the left, you can see that it gives you the name of the chart, and also on the right, it tells you the outer chart. Right now, it's the same chart. So what we want to do is choose the inner chart and make it the nativity. So we're going to go over and get the inner chart, which was example nativity. And that was on the 27th of August. Now you'll see here, I typed in the word exam, and it already pulls up example nativity. And there are 2 of them. There's the solar return, that's the one we already have. And then we can see that here's the natal one. So we're going to double click on the natal one. And now we can see that the nativity is in the middle and the solar revolution is on the outside. You can see that the the ascendant that extends from the center outwards, that's the natal ascendant. And then you can see that the solar return ascendant is floating over here. So it so happens that 10 years from now, the solar return ascendant for that person will be very close to the natal descendant. And so this is how you would start comparing the two charts and seeing if there's a confluence of influences. And because a solar return in some ways is a set of transits to the nativity, this is another way you can look at transits. If you wanted to have this nativity in the center and check out the transits for today and see where the transits for today lie on it, then under Get Outer Chart here on the right, we could scroll up, and here at the top we have transits. That's the automatic chart that Janus generates when you open the program. And there you can see we've chosen it, and these are the planetary positions for today at 2:33 p.m. So this is how you can use transits in a bi-wheel. So that's solar revolutions and transits. Now let's look at distributions, and let's go find our natal chart again. So for distributions, it's a predictive technique. So we'll go under the predictive tab, and we'll go down and we'll find distributions. And here it allows you to choose some settings. Over on the right, you need to tell it what it is that you're distributing. The point to distribute at the bottom is usually the ascendant, so let's make it the ascendant. And we want to use Ptolemy's timing, which is 1 degree of the equator per year, but other systems have used other timing methods. You can choose up to what age you want the distributions to go, and then you can choose degree for a year or 5908 for a day. The 5908 for a day is used in solar revolutions, but we're going to just look at natal distributions. So we're going to use a degree for a year. And we press the calculate button, and we can see on the left we've got distributions of the ascendant. It tells us our timing parameters. Here is the natal data. And then as we look down, in fact, we can make the font a bit bigger. You can see that it tells you what the primary direction arc is, the age when the Time Lords change, the date when they change, and what is changing. What planet is the distributor and what planet is the partner. So this is very handy for doing distributions. You could distribute other things too. For example, the midheaven. You could distribute the midheaven, calculate, and you can see now we've got the midheaven, and it's got a whole different set of distributions because the midheaven's in a different place. And that is how you do distributions of the nativity. And actually, let's now look at primary directions, because that's something that people have trouble with figuring out which settings to use. Let's go back under predictive, and we're going to pick primary directions. And that font is a little too big. Let's make it smaller. Now, on the right, you have all of these options. The reason you have these options is because everyone seemed to have his own idea on how to do primary directions in the Middle Ages. So we need to, in our course, we're going to stick with the Ptolemaic method. We're going to pick all the directions of the involving the ascendant for ages 0 to 80. So we'll just use 0 and 80 like that. Under settings, when we use the Ptolemaic proportional semi-arcs, in Janus, that is Placidus semi-arc. Placidus has some other kinds of primary directions that are different That's not the same thing. We're going to use zodiac directions with Placidus semi-arcs. Then we're going to use only direct directions, and we're going to choose aspects of the prometer to the significator. So what this will do is it will rotate the heavens and let planets and their aspects rotate around and hit the natal midheaven. So that's what we want. And then if we scroll down, it gives us an option for timing. We're going to use Ptolemy's timing key. You can decide which, if you want to use latitude for any of the prometers or significators. We're just going to make it easy and use 0. And then when we calculate it, you'll see on the left, it gives you the list of directions. And here is how you read it. Let's look at this first line. This tells you that it's a zodiac direction using Placidus semi-arcs. The prometer is the left square or sinister square of Mars with no latitude. It's being directed directly to the ascendant, which has no latitude. The distance involved is about 5 degrees. We're using the Ptolemaic timing key, and that hits on September 9th, 2026 at 1:52 in the afternoon. So each line just repeats all of the settings that we've chosen on the right. And that is how you do basic Ptolemaic primary directions. And that's the end of our quick tour of some of the predictive techniques in the Janus program.